How's it going, YouTube? Poker James here. So we're doing another $100 spin and go session. Been doing a few $100 spins now so far. I'm definitely running a bit good, a bit hot so far, so I'm enjoying myself. I have been on the $50 and the $100, so it's looking good, but I better not get ahead of myself. Anyway, if you're enjoying this content, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, and I'll keep doing it. Okay, here we go. I'm pretty sure that Higor 94 is a reg. I feel like I labeled them before. Apparently the label didn't stick. And then Fish from Slovakia. Plus, I don't recognize, but probably a reg as well. I guess we'll see. There's a min-raised pot. Min-raising from small blind versus big blind is not that standard a thing to do at 25 big blinds from regs, so we might have someone who isn't experienced with spinning goes. We'll see, I guess. For all we know, they could be making some exploits, or yeah, many reasons why they could be making the min raise. There are some hands that solver wise you should be min raising, but I think it's very small at 25 big blinds. Personally, I just make it 3 times the big blind or limp or shove at this stack size, but I'm sure you could make a min raise range which is acceptable. But yeah, we got some hands on Igor. All right, 8-3 suited. Let's see if we can spike something. We don't. Occasionally, I might feel a little bit adventurous and start check raising here, but I'm just going to fold. I think that would be, yeah, definitely something I would prefer to have some more information on my opponent before I did that. Ace King, I'm just going to shove. It's my standard play here, shove. 6s, we're going to raise and then call a shove or shove a non all in. I do have a few HUD stats. I'm not going to actually share them with you guys unless it's really important. I don't really want to give free information out for these guys. I feel like it'd be a bit unfair for you to get stats on them. But the 2 that we got here don't show me too much. I think if you look and watch players from the higher stakes, you'll often see that they're betting a lot smaller than I do and a lot bigger than I do. They definitely have a wider range of bet sizes than I do. That is something I would love to start working in, and I think GTO Base should help me with that going forward. Like for example, for me on a 2-3-2 board, I wouldn't be min betting there at all. I don't think. Hang on. Yeah, I wouldn't be min betting here, but I'm sure that's a respectable play. Kings, we're gonna free bet for sure. What kind of size do we make it? Go 150. They snap fold. Damn. Do have some bluffs there, of course, for that sizing. Generally using hands that are like mediocre in hand strength. Okay, 6-5, we'll just check. I'm not going to play any 2 cards against this player. Against a lot of players, especially if I know they're recreational, I will play any 2 cards from about 16 big blinds and higher, just because they're not raising my limps enough. But I guess not here. 7-5, we're going to go for an ISO. I don't want to do it too often, but it is one of those hands that I want to ISO bluff sometimes. And then on this flop, we can be betting. I'm going to go with a medium size. Don't want to go too small. It's a fairly okay turn card for me. I guess we just go tiny with my hand. And then we need to decide what kind of hands do I want to just go for it on the river. Me having a 5 is bad, I think. If I have a 3, a 2, or a 5 in my hand, those are the kind of stuff I don't want to be bluffing too much. Yeah, I think I'm just going to give up. Now, I wouldn't mind looking at this spot after the match, because it was a big pot here. Maybe I should be giving up directly on the turn. Maybe I shouldn't be betting as much as I am on the flop. So I think we'll look at that one after the match. Definitely did not feel comfortable there. So I think it'll be a good one to look at. These ISO pots. Heads up. One thing I will definitely see is that there are other ISO sizings that GTO Base will use than what I did. So it will be interesting to look at it from that perspective as well. If it's just something that it never ever does, then what I'll have to do is take the range from our GTO pack, pre-flop pack, and solve it myself. So we'll see. Sometimes we do stuff that's just not going to show up on GTO Base at all, especially while I'm only using one non-all-in ISO size. 9-8, do I want to be bluffing? I think this might be a hand I should bluff occasionally. Oh well, I'm not too worried about it. I just think that in general, on a king-queen board and then an ace turn, that my opponent is going to be having a lot of showdown value in general. 10-4 suited, let's get it in. Could limp, especially if I think they might be recreational. Doesn't look good. Looks like game over. Oh! Get in. Nice. You love to see it. Okay, we're back in the game. Jack 10. Oof. Tough one if we get shoved on. Okay, good. We can check or bet. We got a decent diamond, so if I bet, I probably am committed to go all in. But I don't like it too much, so I prefer to check behind. If I'm like got a king of diamonds, it's so much easier to just bet and know I'm getting it in. That is a beautiful turn. Is it beautiful enough for me to raise for value? I think it is. That's what we'll do. And they snap fold. Ace Jack, we're trying to get some value. We got a nice ace king board flop. So we're going to do the same as last time, but this time we've actually hit, so that's nice. They've called again. This one is not as good a turn card for us as the last one, but yeah, same deal. We're just going to bet small and then shove river. I don't think there's a river that I won't shove. I'm just going to time it down. GG. I don't think we're getting out of that one. But yeah, let's pull up the hand that I want to look at. Here it is. So our ISO, it might be something that, well, I'm pretty sure that GTO Base will want to do a different ISO size. We'll see if it's something that just never does, then trying to look at the solve for it won't be very beneficial for us at all. So I'd have to solve it ourselves. So we're going to look and decide. On the flop, I'm going to be betting here. Realistically, with 7-5, I'm always betting on this board. I wonder if this is a bet every time for the solver. On the turn, I am betting small. I would say I'm betting small most of the time. Let's go 75% of the time. I'm betting again. And then the river I am giving up because I've got the 5. So yeah, we'll see what GTO Base says in a bit. And if it's not reliable, then we'll solve it ourselves. All right, so we're going to check this 7-5 hand out. See what GTO Base suggests. It is actually okay. So the ISO sizings that it has, we did do an okay one. So that's the first useful thing. Let's just look at the overall strategy here. So naturally, when you are facing a limp, mostly you're going to be checking. So we should be checking 61% of the time, raising to 3 big blinds 16%, and shoving 18%. Okay, so all in all, fairly similar. The GTO Base does also say to raise to 5 big blinds with a small percentage of hands. Now, it isn't something that I've learned to do at all, so we're just going to ignore that basically. But yeah, our 7-5 is something that we do occasionally. So there you are. So let's keep going through the hand. They limped and we raised, and they called. On the flop, ace queen 4 flop, the solver likes to bet a little bit smaller, but it has 2 sizings, 150 and 3. We went in between that, so I'm not too worried about me when it comes to sizings. I would like to see if there's any other sizings that it does use on this board rather than just half pot and quarter pot. It doesn't, so I'm fine with me just betting 1/3 pot there. Not a problem. Not much to review there. And they call ace on the turn. Right, okay. So this is a spot where I decided to go for a small bet. And I think this is where we kind of started to get a bit lost, I would say. This is where I was losing the confidence, so I thought it was definitely worth checking out. So here I think we basically picked the wrong bet size to use if we are going to bet. And there it says basically we should be betting about half pot or checking. Let's look at the overall bet size used. So we should be making the small bet like I did a decent portion of the time, still over 10% of the time, and then the half pot 28% of the time. So what I've done here is I've used the wrong type of hand to bet small here. I think that's what we've done. Now the larger bet size makes sense with the trash like 7-5, because if we get shoved on, it's an easy fold. Whereas a lot of the other stuff, we might end up getting committed if we bet that big. So I get and understand that. 7-5. Yeah, overall, just as a general, the 7-5s like to be checking. Now, what combination did I have? I had the 7 of hearts. So having the 7 of hearts does change things that you want to bet sometimes. But yeah, we bet the wrong sizing there. I think really as a general rule I should be checking, basically check, give up most of the 7-5s. That was what he was saying there. So yeah, we made a mistake. Overall frequencies, hang on, let's look at that again. we're meant to be checking about 60% of the time. So here I think I've screwed up. As range wise, I'm not checking 60% of the time. I'm more likely checking here, I would say 30-40% of the time. So I'm here, I'm betting too much. So I think I found a little leak there. So yeah, we did bet small, which apparently isn't too much of an EV loss in a vacuum, and we get called. And then on the river it's just a check give up, which I'm not surprised about, having the 7-5. Yeah, it does say to us that the action sequence did not match tree structure. So that does make sense for why it's coming up. But yeah, let's have a look at what kind of range it does bet with. I'm just going to take off the absolute so we can look on the river. If we had bet small, what kind of stuff are we meant to be betting? We're meant to check 62% of the time, so a lot more checking than I probably would have done. Essentially what did occur is that, yeah, both the turn and the river I'm barreling too much, thinking that my range is just strong enough to do that with. And clearly GTO Base is telling me I'm wrong. So here there are 3 sizings that the solver would use: a small bet, half pot, and I'm guessing bet 9.25 is all in. So it's a lot less all in betting than I expected. In an ISO pot, when you bet the flop, bet the turn, you would expect them to bet all in on the river quite often, but apparently that's not the case. Lots of the smaller bets. Very interesting. I guess we're doing it with 6-2 and 6-3. I guess we're doing it for value. With 7 highs, we're doing it. Okay, so here is something very interesting to look at. Because we had a heart in our hand, 7 of hearts really specifically, we didn't want to bluff our hand. No, so I was looking at it from the 5 perspective, as I want my opponent to have some sort of gut shot hand that's given up. But I was looking at it in the wrong way. I should have been looking at it from the point of view of we want them to have flush draws that have missed and given up. So if I didn't have the heart, I should be bluffing. If I do, I should be checking. I think that's just the general rule that I should have here. If I have a 5 of hearts or the 7 of hearts, we check. If we don't, we bet as a bluff, and we're betting small. Apparently we're doing that, yeah, the small bet, and then we're going very, very thin for value with hands like 6x. What about Queen X? What do we do with queens? So another interesting thing here is actually betting large with queens. Obviously this is for value, right? We're going for stacks here, betting large. King queen off is checking as a trap, I guess. Interesting. Yeah, very, very, very interesting. What can I really take from that? Because when we're going this far down the rabbit hole, I don't think there's too much I can really take from this. What I do think I should look at is that I should be looking to bluff using river bluffs that don't have hearts in, so that we don't block missed flush draws, rather than looking at the straight draws, I think. And then we should be looking at making a lot thinner value bets than maybe I should have, than maybe I thought of. So betting pair of 6s here, betting pair of queens here, betting aces, of course. So yeah. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so already. I'm going to be doing plenty more of these kind of strategy videos. I'm currently using GTO Base, and it's priced at around $150 a month. If you use the code op.poker, you'll find it in the description below. You can get a 5% discount, so I'd appreciate if you do use it to use our code. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.